Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. You know who it is, and it's time for a review of this new Macklemore single, White Privilege, Part 2. Macklemore is a Seattle rapper, and he is slated to release a new full-length album this year with his star producer, Ryan Lewis. He has dropped a few singles over the past year or so. They seem to be doing well. I especially like that Downtown single. But if there's something I've kind of noticed about these recent tracks from Mac, it's that they're not really taking the socially aware angle that he's come to be known for. However, that seems a change on this new song over here. And on this track, Macklemore is actually returning to a topic that he addressed back about 10 years ago on his debut full-length album. Macklemore seemed to be on this topic before it became this hot-button buzzword in the social justice community, and kind of the irony of that is it seems like the social justice community has more disdain for him than about anybody. And a lot of people have charged him with exploiting social movements for money rather than kind of helping and celebrating social movements through his music with these hit songs. As much as I see both sides of the argument here, I have to kind of say it's a bit of a catch-22. You're sort of damned if you do and damned if you don't. The public will cry out if they don't get enough political and socially aware music. Oh, our music is just drugs and sex and hedonism and blah, 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 blah. But when we do get socially aware music, we just kind of crap all over it, or we get bored with it. And when it comes to the comment section of this song on YouTube, let's just say it's not exactly harmonious. But I guess what you can say about Macklemore is that with this track, he's putting out ideas. He's starting a conversation in a way. Now, there are a lot of topics being addressed in this 8-minute song when it comes to the smorgasbord of racial and social issues America is facing today. I wouldn't say Macklemore solves any of it, but he just kind of lays it all out there through a series of chapters in this story song, starting with Macklemore at a Black Lives Matter protest. He's kind of standing on the sidelines, wondering, how can I get involved? How can I help? Then we go from Macklemore to like a loud, argumentative sound collage. We get in the face of a protester who essentially charges Macklemore with a lot of accusations, comparing him to other artists who have appropriated black culture for either shock value or titillation, people like Iggy Azalea or Miley Cyrus. And then it seems like Macklemore ducks away from the protest. He goes into a restaurant or something, and he has a one-on-one with a mom, like a white suburban mom who really loves his music, thinks it's catchy, thinks it's positive, lets her kids listen to it, and everything you sing about, like love, is totally great, but all these people protesting outside, that's totally silly, because if you run away from a cop, you should be shot. So Macklemore putting the effect of his own music in perspective, seeing that it's not actually having an impact or influencing anything that's actually going on outside in terms of Black Lives Matter, and the people who it should be impacting and should be getting to change their minds and actually have a moment of introspection on these issues, they're actually just kind of seeing his music as just sort of fun, positive pop rap that isn't really, kind of facilitating any real discussion on issues. Then after all this, there's a bit of a conclusion where Macklemore talks about how in the hip-hop game he was steps ahead to begin with because he was white. We get a series of quotes from people talking about injustice, a house on fire analogy to sort of explain the purpose of Black Lives Matter. Macklemore gives his own take on a lot of these issues, and the track kind of closes with a melodic outro saying that silence is not a luxury, that hip-hop is not a luxury. I think basically communicating directly to Macklemore's white audience that if they're going to enjoy hip-hop, they just can't do it casually or on the sidelines of these social movements that are supposed to lift up black people socially and economically. Now, generally, I like the track, but I do have my reservations with it. I guess I should say that a song like this being made by an artist with a high profile, a profile as high as Macklemore's, is a good thing, whether that artist is black or white, and we need more artists in the limelight taking issues like these head on. But if we're going to act like this track and Macklemore are kind of doing all of us a service by addressing this issue, then we need to judge it based upon its effectiveness. And I don't think this song is going to have much play going deeper into 2016 because it's so obtuse, it's so long. Why is it not crafted like a radio smash, like Macklemore's previous tracks have been? There are going to be a lot of people tuning out of this track at around the 1 minute and 30 or the 2 minute mark, and it's not necessarily going to be because of what Macklemore is saying. Musically, I think this thing is just kind of an 8-minute hodgepodge. I think the idea of doing a story track and moving from one voice and one mind to another was really ambitious and cool. I mean, I do like those kinds of heady conceptual song topics, but I don't think someone who, like me, is aware of a lot of the issues being discussed in this song is necessarily the audience for this track. The fact of the matter is, this thing is a song. You know, it's not a 10,000 word dissertation on the current social climate in America in regards to racial issues. It's a song. It's not going to fix any problems. It's not going to give us a silver bullet solution to any of these issues. And while he does seem aware of that, in order to complete this song in a timely manner, or a sort of timely manner, I think Macklemore has to come to a series of rushed conclusions and ideas to sort of connect the dots. Macklemore is obviously an outsider to a lot of the issues he's addressing on this track. He's obviously not suffering directly from any oppression that he's rapping about or causing any oppression directly that he's rapping about, but he's so eager for the issues that he's addressing on this thing to be his cross to bear. He's really trying to carry a burden on this track, and it feels kind of like he's lying, and not in a way that's intentionally nefarious or deceptive, just kind of this lie that we tell to ourselves sometimes when we see injustice going on in the world to convince ourselves that, oh, we're not a part of that, we're not a part of the problem, we're not contributing to issue X. What he portrays accurately, I think, is the emotional struggle of the white hip-hop listener who is aware of movements like Black Lives Matter and the issues they're trying to address, but doesn't want to just blatantly insert themselves into black struggles. It's a real concern that causes real legitimate hesitation, but the moment where Macklemore is talking about what these people could be doing to help, what if I start a dialogue? What if I read an article? That line was like Hobson levels of corny and out of touchness. Are you serious? What if I read an article? Like, you read an article and everybody's just less oppressed that day? Though I do understand that these are the baby steps that some Macklemore fans might need to take. I can at least give him credit for knowing that he has a large mainstream audience who might be deaf to a lot of these issues, and this is Macklemore sort of talking to them on their terms. However, this track does lack the musical hit appeal that I think a song like this could have used, even if it is difficult to condense these issues down into a radio-ready track. And then there's something about this song that kind of reminds me of the Kendrick Lamar Grammy debacle, where Macklemore was so quick to apologize for winning the award and saying that he should have won it. Again, this issue is not Macklemore's cross to bear and just desperately prostrating himself in song, while a lot of people might feel good about that because it does blow off some short-term steam and make a lot of people think, yeah, that's how I feel too. It's not gonna solve any long-term goals. Because if we totally erase Macklemore from the equation and we prevent him from becoming famous, and you know, Thrift Shop never happened and the heist never happened and all that stuff, all the issues Macklemore addresses on this track, they're still here. They still exist. And that's because these issues are much larger than Macklemore and sit squarely on the shoulders of our politicians, of our police force, of the drug war, of our prison system, of our court system. And even if it is artful with some very tasteful bits of instrumentation hanging in the background, I can't help but feel it a little silly as I'm listening to Macklemore on this track just effectively going, I'm sorry. But, you know, that's basically how I feel about this track. Again, don't doubt his concern, and I think it's a heartfelt track, dealing with some very difficult issues that, again, Macklemore alone doesn't have the solution to and probably cannot solve, even with his celebrity status. But at least this track is, again, a conversation starter, in a sense. Transition! Did you give this track a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And what did you think of the philosophy of the song? What was said in the track? Did it hit you emotionally? Did it make you contemplate some stuff? Did it make you think twice about some social issues? Let me know. Anthony Fantano, Macklemore, forever.